Today's session is designed for learners aiming to progress towards C1 and C2 standards of English. These are expert tiers where you do not merely understand English, you use it confidently, instinctively, and efficiently in almost any scenario. Whether you are preparing for an exam, getting ready for work, or simply aiming to sound more articulate, this comprehensive 2-hour lesson will provide the practice, repetition, and real-world context you need. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to English in Moments. I am Elena, your host for today's session. Thank you so much for choosing this video today. I am truly glad you are here, and I value you deciding to spend your time refining your English with me. Before we get started, if you enjoy mastering English through authentic conversations, realistic examples, and high-level practice, please make sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Your support allows us to grow and helps learners globally in reaching superior levels of English fluency. Now, let's start with a simple question to set the mood for today's training. When you envision someone who speaks English at a superior level, what comes to mind? Do you picture someone who speaks rapidly, someone who uses sophisticated vocabulary, or someone who grasps every subject effortlessly? In truth, advanced English is not solely about sounding intelligent. It is about expressing ideas clearly, understanding subtle nuances, and communicating naturally. It is about being able to manage conversations regarding life, culture, society, emotions, work, and even complex subjects with confidence and ease. In this video, we will look at many of these concepts. We will discuss communication abilities, everyday life scenarios, personal growth, advanced vocabulary, profound topics, and practical methods to think in English. Each section of this script will help you strengthen your capacity to speak instinctively and understand English the way native speakers use it. So, as you listen, visualize yourself in these situations. Attempt to respond internally, repeat after me aloud, and practice as if you were engaged in a genuine dialogue. Let's begin with a warm-up subject that many advanced learners appreciate: how daily habits shape our communication abilities. Consider your everyday routine. How frequently do you expose yourself to English? Do you listen to podcasts during breakfast? Do you read a few pages of a book before sleeping? Do you speak to yourself in English while performing simple tasks like cooking or driving? These small routines may seem insignificant, but they build your fluency faster than you might anticipate. Researchers in language acquisition state that consistent exposure matters more than lengthy, difficult study periods. In fact, many specialists suggest that using English for short durations, multiple times a day, is more productive than attempting to study for hours once a week. This is because your mind learns a language through repetition, meaning, and context. The more frequently you hear natural expressions, the faster your brain transforms them into something familiar, something automatic. Let's think about that for a moment. When you hear phrases like "on a regular basis," "from time to time," or "as far as I'm concerned," do they feel natural to you? Or do you still translate them from your native tongue? At C1 and C2 levels, your objective is to stop translating and start using your intuition. You want to reach a stage where English ideas come to your mind without a struggle. That is one of the primary purposes of today's practice, to help you think in English through extended, meaningful listening. Now let us dive into our first advanced subject: how modern life influences the way we interact. This is a phenomenon that people across the globe can identify with. Whether you live in the United States, India, Europe, Africa, the Middle East, or Southeast Asia, communication has transformed drastically in the last decade. Many discussions now occur through text messages, video calls, or voice notes. People share their opinions instantly, often without thinking deeply. At the same time, actual face-to-face interactions sometimes become less frequent. This change affects language in intriguing ways. Because we communicate so rapidly, many people use shorter sentences, simpler words, or emojis to convey feelings. But when it comes to advanced English, you need to go beyond brief messages. You need to express opinions, clarify your reasoning, agree and disagree courteously, and discuss complex issues using clear structure and precise vocabulary. Let's practice this concept with a few questions. As you listen, try to answer in your mind or speak aloud. How has technology changed the way you interact with people? Do you believe communication today is better or worse than how it was in the past? Do you think social media helps us stay connected, or does it make conversations more superficial? These questions demand more than simple yes or no responses. They compel you to explain, expand, and justify your ideas. That is exactly the type of reasoning you require at the C1 and C2 levels. For instance, instead of stating technology is helpful, an advanced learner might say it with me, technology has definitely transformed the way I interact. On one hand, it allows me to stay in touch with people effortlessly. On the other hand, I sometimes feel discussions have become less personal. Notice the structure on one hand and on the other hand. These transitions help you sound organized and articulate. As we continue through the video, you will hear many expressions like this. Attempt to repeat them whenever possible. Let's shift to another related subject, the significance of active listening. At advanced levels, speaking is only half of communication. The other half is the capacity to listen carefully, understand details, and respond suitably. Have you ever noticed how some people listen only to reply, not to understand? They wait for their chance to speak, but they do not fully process what the other person is saying. Active listening means paying attention not just to the words, but also to the tone, the purpose, and the emotion behind the message. When mastering English, this skill helps you understand fast speech, complex phrases, idioms, and subtle nuances. It also aids you in responding more spontaneously. For example, if someone says, "I've been overwhelmed lately," an advanced learner does not reply with a simple, "Okay." Instead, they might say, "Your turn. I'm sorry to hear that. Is it because of work?" This demonstrates understanding, empathy, and fluency. In this video, you will hear many real-life expressions. Try saying these aloud. "I've been meaning to." "I can relate to that." "That caught me off guard." And "I wouldn't go that far, but I see your point." These are expressions used by fluent speakers daily, and they help you sound more natural and confident. As we proceed, remember that the goal is not to memorize everything. The goal is to allow English to flow through your mind, to let it become familiar, comfortable, and natural. The more you expose yourself to real English, the faster you will achieve C1 and C2 standards. As we continue with this advanced English practice, Let's move into a topic that is extremely vital for C1 and C2 learners: expressing complex concepts clearly and instinctively. At advanced levels, it is not just about understanding difficult vocabulary. It is about using language to communicate thoughts that are subtle, layered, and meaningful. Consider this for a moment. In your native language, when you are talking about a profound subject, possibly something regarding society, relationships, personal growth, or global issues, you likely use nuanced expressions without even realizing it. You might say things like, "It's not that simple," "It depends on the situation," or "There's more to it than that." In English, advanced speakers use similar phrasing. For instance, repeat after me. "It's a bit more complicated than it appears." There are several factors to consider. "I understand where you're coming from, but I see it differently." That's a valid point, although I'd argue. These kinds of expressions demonstrate maturity, clarity, and depth. They help you participate in meaningful conversations rather than superficial ones. Now, let's focus on a real-world subject that many people around the globe can identify with: how expectations shape our daily lives. Expectations from family, community, work, or even from ourselves can impact how we think and behave. This topic is very common in advanced English discussions because it touches emotions, psychology, and life background. Let's reflect on a few questions. Answers in your mind or aloud will help you train your fluency. What expectations do you feel from the individuals around you? Do you think these expectations help you grow, or do they add pressure? How do expectations affect your confidence or your choices? These questions demand more than simple vocabulary. They demand explanation, examples, and reflections. Something C1 and C2 learners must practice frequently. For example, an advanced speaker might say it with me, "I believe expectations can be both motivating and stressful. On one hand, they push us to reach our potential. On the other hand, they can generate stress that affects our mental well-being." This kind of structure mirrors the way native speakers express complex opinions. Notice how the sentence uses balance, comparison, and nuance. These elements help you move from intermediate English to advanced English. Now, let's look at natural conversation flow, something that many advanced learners wish to master. A common struggle is feeling like your speech is too formal or too rigid. At high levels, you want to sound spontaneous, not robotic or overly academic. One method to do this is by using small conversational tools that native speakers use without thinking. Expressions like, "Your turn to practice these." Actually, now that you mention it, that reminds me of something. To be honest, I've never thought about it that way. If I had to guess, I'd say, "What surprised me was..." These phrases make your speech smoother and more dynamic. They help you sound more like you are thinking in English rather than translating. Throughout this video, you will hear many expressions like these, so your brain becomes familiar with them. Let's shift to another subject that advanced English speakers often discuss: personal growth and long-term goals. Whether someone originates from South America, Europe, Asia, Africa, or the Middle East, almost everyone desires to improve their life in some way. Career, relationships, well-being, or personal development. Here are some questions that compel you to think in English. What long-term goals are most significant to you right now? Do you believe people can truly change, or do you think personality stays the same? What's one area of your life you want to improve this year? Advanced English is not just about vocabulary. It is about expressing emotions, motivation, and introspection. Let's take one example. Echo this back. I've been trying to become more disciplined with my time. It's not easy, but I'm gradually improving. I've realized that small, consistent habits make a major difference in the long run. This is natural, detailed, and emotionally honest. It sounds like a real human expressing a real struggle, exactly the type of fluency you desire. Let's move to another essential advanced skill: handling disagreements politely. In many nations, people avoid conflicts. In others, debates are normal. But in English, it is vital to disagree without sounding rude or aggressive. Here are some polite yet advanced methods to express disagreement. Repeat after me. I see your point, but I'm not completely convinced. That's an interesting perspective, though I'd interpret it differently. I respect your assessment, but I have a slightly different take. I understand what you mean, although I don't fully agree. These expressions demonstrate confidence, respect, and clarity, key traits of C1 and C2 communication. Now, let's dive into an interesting and highly relatable topic: how routines build our confidence. Many people undervalue how daily habits influence their capacity to speak a language. The truth is, confidence does not originate from perfection. It originates from consistency. The more you expose yourself to English daily, the more natural and effortless your speech becomes. Let's think about your routine. Do you practice English intentionally or only when you have free time? Do you listen to English during tasks like exercising, cooking, or commuting? The more English you absorb passively, the easier active speaking becomes. Here's a useful advanced sentence pattern. Say it aloud with me. The more I practice, the more confident I feel. The more I listen, the more natural everything sounds. The more I challenge myself, the more progress I notice. This, the more structure is very common in natural English, and mastering it helps you sound more fluent instantly. Now, let's talk about a meaningful topic that touches almost everyone: finding balance in life with work, family, school, relationships, and personal goals. It's easy to feel overwhelmed. Advanced dialogues often involve discussing balance, priorities, and decision-making. Try to answer this question in your mind. Do you feel your life is balanced, or do you feel pulled in many directions? A natural advanced answer might sound like this. Your turn. Lately, I've been trying to find a better balance. I realized I was focusing too much on work and not enough on my well-being. So now I'm learning to slow down and take things one step at a time. Expressions like take things one step at a time, slow down, and find balance are extremely common in daily English. As we proceed, we will look at even deeper subjects, more advanced structures, and more natural expressions to help you reach C1 and C2 levels. As we continue in this advanced English practice, let's look at a topic that almost every learner finds relatable: how our environment influences the way we speak, think, and react. Whether you live in a quiet town, a busy metropolis, or somewhere in between, the world around you shapes your communication style in intriguing ways. For example, if you live in a fast-paced atmosphere, you might naturally speak more rapidly or more directly. If your culture values politeness or indirect communication, you might express opinions more gently or cautiously. Understanding these patterns helps you become aware of how you use English and how you can adjust your style depending on the situation. Let's start with a few reflective questions. Do you think your environment affects the way you communicate in English? Do you feel more confident speaking English at home, at school, at work, or with friends? How does the atmosphere around you influence your level of fluency? These questions compel you to think deeper, which is essential at the C1 and C2 levels. Advanced English is not only about grammar, it's about self-awareness and communication strategy. Now, let's discuss something that many advanced learners undervalue: the power of storytelling at high levels. One of the best methods to demonstrate fluency is by telling stories smoothly. Stories about your day, your past experiences, your challenges, or even your dreams for the future. When you narrate a story well in English, you demonstrate control of tenses, transitions, feelings, and descriptive vocabulary. Here are some natural storytelling expressions. Try saying these. Let me tell you about something interesting that happened recently. I'll never forget the moment when, looking back, I realized that at first I didn't understand what was happening. But then eventually I figured things out. These phrases create a natural flow, helping listeners follow your thoughts clearly. Let's practice this concept with a simple reflection. Think about a moment from your life, possibly something surprising, funny, stressful, or meaningful. Now, try to describe it using English in your mind. Use transitions like at first, after a while, in the end. What surprised me was, the strange thing is, this helps you build confidence and practice real-life storytelling, which is a powerful component of advanced fluency. Now, let's explore another essential skill for C1 and C2 learners: using precise vocabulary at advanced levels. You do not need complicated words. You need accurate ones. For example, instead of very important, advanced speakers might say crucial, essential, or significant. Instead of very big, they might say massive, enormous, or substantial. Instead of very small, they might say tiny, minimal, or limited. Instead of I don't like it, repeat after me. It doesn't appeal to me. I'm not a big fan of it. Or it's not really my thing. These choices help your speech become richer, clearer, and more expressive. Let's focus on an advanced topic that appears often in real conversations: dealing with uncertainty. In life, we constantly make choices without knowing exactly what will happen. Being able to express uncertainty in English is a sign of advanced fluency. Say it with me. I'm not entirely sure, but I think it's hard to say for certain. Although my best guess is that, as far as I can tell, it seems likely that. These expressions soften your speech, making it sound natural and thoughtful. Now, let's reflect on this concept more deeply. Life is full of uncertainty about the future, about work, about relationships, about opportunities. Expressing uncertainty in English demonstrates emotional intelligence and nuance. Try answering these questions in your mind. What's something you've been unsure about lately? How do you manage uncertainty in your life? Do you generally trust your instincts, or do you rely on facts and logic? At advanced levels, these reflections help you speak more naturally and thoughtfully. Now, let's shift to another important aspect of advanced English: demonstrating empathy through language. Empathy is a human skill that no machine or translation application can replicate. When you express empathy, you demonstrate understanding, care, and emotional intelligence, qualities highly valued in C1 and C2 communication. Here are natural expressions of empathy. Your turn. I can imagine how that must feel. That sounds really challenging. I'm sorry you had to go through that. I can relate to what you're saying. I've experienced something similar, so I understand. Using these phrases makes your English warmer, more human, and more connected. Now, let's talk about a global topic that people everywhere can identify with: the fast pace of modern life. Many people today feel busier than ever. Whether you're a student, an employee, a parent, or someone building your own business, life can feel overwhelming. But this is also an opportunity to practice advanced vocabulary and expressions. For example, you can state, repeat after me, I've been juggling multiple responsibilities lately. I feel like I'm constantly racing against time. I've been trying to slow down and reset my priorities. Life has been hectic, but I'm managing. These are expressions you will hear in workplaces, universities, and daily life. Let's go deeper. One of the most vital parts of advanced communication is being able to reflect on your experiences. Reflection helps you express thoughts clearly, which is essential at higher levels. Try answering these questions internally. What's one lesson you've learned recently? Is there something you wish you had handled differently? How have you grown over the past year? These reflective questions help your brain build stronger English connections. Now, let's look at a highly practical skill: making your speech more structured. Native speakers often organize their thoughts instinctively using patterns like first of all, secondly, on top of that, in contrast, to sum up. Using these structures helps your English sound organized and polished, especially in academic or professional contexts. Before we proceed to part 4, let's end this section with a key reminder. Advanced English is not about perfection. It's about clarity, confidence, and connection. It's about expressing who you are, what you think, and how you perceive the world. As we proceed on this journey toward advanced English fluency, let's shift into a topic that challenges many learners around the globe: developing confidence when expressing your true thoughts and opinions in English. At C1 and C2 levels, fluency is not just about vocabulary. It's about feeling comfortable sharing your ideas the same way you would in your native language. Consider this. Have you ever had a moment when you understood everything in English, but did not know how to express your opinions smoothly? Possibly the words felt stuck, or you were not sure how to phrase your thoughts in a natural way. This obstacle is common, especially for learners who are transitioning into advanced speaking. To help with this, let's look at some natural expressions that advanced speakers use when giving opinions. Say these aloud. If you ask me, from my perspective, As far as I'm concerned, to be completely honest, I'm of the opinion that these phrases help you start your sentences confidently and give your speech structure and flow. They also indicate that what follows is thoughtful and intentional. Let's practice with a few real-world questions. Consider them and try to answer in English. What's something you strongly believe in? What's a habit you think everyone should develop? What's one thing people often misunderstand about you? Training yourself to express these deeper concepts naturally is one of the keys to reaching C1 and C2. Now, let's shift to a topic that advanced learners often find fascinating: the psychology of communication. At a high level, language is not just information. It's emotion, identity, culture, and connection. Every time you interact in English, you are not just forming sentences, you're building relationships, expressing personality, and shaping how others perceive you. For example, the way you say something can change the entire meaning. Compare these two responses. Yes, I guess, versus I think that would work really well. The first sounds unsure. The second sounds confident and engaged. At advanced levels, tone matters as much as vocabulary. You want to sound like someone who participates in the dialogue, not someone who simply reacts to it. To improve your communication psychology, practice using assertive yet courteous phrases. Repeat after me. I'd prefer if we could. One thing I'd like to add is, I completely agree with that point. I'm not entirely sure about that, but here's how I see it. These expressions elevate your English to a more mature and professional level. Let's proceed to another important topic: expressing complex emotions. At advanced levels, you need more than happy, sad, angry, or tired. You want to capture subtle feelings like, your turn. I'm a bit overwhelmed. I feel conflicted about that. I'm cautiously optimistic. I'm feeling a little out of my depth. I'm genuinely impressed. These expressions help you communicate more precisely and naturally, especially in emotional or personal conversations. Now, let's talk about a topic that affects almost everyone: time management and productivity in modern life. With screens, notifications, deadlines, and responsibilities pulling us in every direction, many people struggle to balance everything. Here are some advanced expressions related to this topic. Say it with me. I've been trying to prioritize my tasks more effectively. I tend to procrastinate when I feel stressed. I'm learning to set healthier boundaries with my time. I've realized I need to manage my energy, not just my schedule. These are phrases you will hear in workplace conversations, coaching sessions, and academic discussions. Let's pause for a moment and reflect. How do you currently manage your time? Do you feel productive, or do you often feel rushed? What's one habit you want to improve to use your time better? Thinking about meaningful questions like these helps you build deeper, more expressive English. Now, let's look at a topic that people worldwide encounter: building and maintaining meaningful relationships. Whether friendships, family connections, or professional relationships, communication is the foundation of connection. Advanced English helps you maintain healthy, respectful, and supportive relationships in many environments. Here are natural phrases to strengthen relationship-based communication. Repeat after me. I really appreciate the effort you put in. I value your honesty. I understand what you are going through. I'm grateful for your support. Let me know how I can help. These expressions demonstrate emotional maturity and warmth, key components of advanced communication. Let's proceed deeper. Many psychologists state that strong relationships rely on understanding, patience, and the capacity to express emotions clearly. When you interact well, you avoid misunderstandings, resolve conflicts faster, and generate more trust with the people around you. Try answering these reflective questions. What qualities do you value most in a friend? How do you attempt to maintain strong connections with the people you care about? What's one thing you wish people understood better about your communication style? Questions like these help you explore your inner thoughts in English, training your fluency at a deeper level. Next, let's discuss one of the most vital skills at C1 and C2, summarizing and paraphrasing. Advanced English speakers do not always repeat things word for word. They rephrase concepts naturally. For example, instead of saying, "He cannot come because he's busy," an advanced speaker might say it aloud, "He mentioned that he wouldn't make it due to a busy schedule." Instead of, "The book is about how people think," an advanced speaker might say, "The book explores human thought and behavior." Paraphrasing helps you sound more natural, more flexible, and more confident. Before we close this part, let's end with a key concept. Advanced English is not about sounding perfect. It's about expressing yourself authentically, thoughtfully, and confidently. As you listen, absorb the rhythm, the expressions, and the natural flow. This repeated exposure is what brings you closer to C1 and C2 fluency. As we continue this advanced English journey, let's dive into a topic that matters deeply to people around the globe: making meaningful progress in life and staying motivated even when things get difficult. At C1 and C2 levels, speaking about motivation, challenges, and personal growth is very common, whether in job interviews, university discussions, or everyday conversations. Let's start with something simple but powerful. Everyone wants to improve, but not everyone knows how to keep going when progress feels slow. This is true for language learning, career growth, fitness goals, almost everything in life. English fluency develops in the same way. Some days you feel confident. Other days you struggle to express simple thoughts. And that's completely normal. Here's an advanced expression that captures this concept. Your turn to practice. Progress isn't always visible, but that does not mean it's not happening. Or, growth often happens beneath the surface, long before we notice it. These kinds of phrases demonstrate depth, emotional awareness, and sophisticated language control, hallmarks of advanced English. Let's take a moment to reflect. Consider something you have been trying to improve recently. It could be your English, your well-being, your relationships, or your career. Ask yourself, what motivates you to keep going? What discourages you? How do you manage setbacks? These are deep questions that require emotional expression, and practicing them in English strengthens your fluency. Now, let's talk about a topic that advanced learners value: self-discipline and consistency. Many people assume that successful language learners have natural talent. But in reality, fluency originates from consistent habits, not perfection. Here are some natural advanced expressions related to consistency. Say it with me. I've been trying to stay consistent, even on days when I do not feel motivated. I'm working on developing better habits, one step at a time. I've realized that discipline is more reliable than motivation. I'm learning to build routines that support my long-term goals. These expressions are especially useful when talking about personal growth or lifestyle changes. Let's proceed into something even more practical: managing stress and mental load. In modern life, stress is one of the most common challenges people encounter. Whether it's pressure from work, school, family, or social expectations, stress affects how we speak, how we think, and how we behave. Here are some advanced natural expressions describing stress. Repeat after me. I've been feeling a bit overwhelmed lately. I'm trying to manage my stress more effectively. I've been under a lot of pressure these days. I need to slow down and take a breather. I'm doing my best to stay grounded. These sentences help you express subtle emotions without sounding dramatic or unnatural. Let's pause for a moment and reflect. What's been the biggest source of stress in your life recently? How do you generally cope with pressure? Do you tend to face problems directly, or do you avoid them? Thinking in English while answering these questions strengthens your reasoning and emotional expression, essential skills at advanced levels. Now, let's discuss a topic that is incredibly useful for C1 and C2 learners: expressing contrasts and comparing concepts. In advanced conversations, you often need to demonstrate balance, contrast, or nuance. Here are some natural structures native speakers use. Your turn. Although I agree with that point, I think while that may be true, it's also important to consider. On the contrary, in comparison, despite that, I believe. Learning to use these helps you speak with depth and sophistication. Let's try applying this with a relatable topic: work-life balance. Many people around the globe struggle to balance their responsibilities with their personal lives. An advanced response might sound like, say it aloud. Although I understand the importance of working hard, I also believe that rest is essential. Without a healthy balance, productivity and well-being both suffer. This type of sentence demonstrates clarity, nuance, and maturity in your English. Next, let's focus on mindset, a topic that influences every aspect of communication. A strong mindset helps you learn faster, stay motivated, and handle challenges effectively. Here are some natural advanced expressions about mindset. Repeat after me. I'm learning to shift my mindset and focus on solutions rather than problems. I've been trying to view setbacks as opportunities for growth. I'm working on developing a more positive, resilient attitude. I've realized that mindset has a huge impact on how I encounter challenges. These expressions demonstrate emotional intelligence and thoughtful communication. Now, let's dive into a topic that truly stretches your advanced English: discussing global issues in a balanced, thoughtful way. C1 and C2 speakers often need to talk about topics like the economy, climate change, culture, education, or social trends without sounding extreme or simplistic. For example, Say it with me. It's clear that globalization has brought both benefits and challenges. From a broader perspective, this issue is more complex than it appears. One could argue that technology has improved our lives, but it has also created new concerns. There's no simple solution, but open dialogue is a good starting point. These types of statements help you sound mature, analytical, and fluent. Let's reflect on a few deeper questions. Answer them in your mind. How has technology changed life in your country? Do you think people today are happier or more stressed than past generations? Is your society moving in a positive direction, or do you feel concerned? These reflections help you practice expressing thoughtful, balanced opinions. Before we wrap up this section, let's focus on one more advanced skill: expressing future hopes and ambitions. At C1 and C2 levels, you want to express dreams and intentions in a natural way. Your turn to practice. In the future, I hope to broaden my opportunities. I'd like to challenge myself more professionally. One of my long-term goals is to improve my communication skills. I'm planning to push myself out of my comfort zone. These expressions help you talk about your future with confidence and clarity. This sets a strong foundation for the next section, where we will explore deeper emotional topics, real-life conversations, and advanced communication patterns that mimic natural English. As we continue this advanced English practice, let's dive into an area that becomes increasingly vital as learners approach C1 and C2 levels: identity and self-expression. Advanced English isn't just about being correct. It's about being yourself in another language. It's about expressing your humor, your personality, your opinions, and your worldview naturally. Let's start with a question that many advanced learners struggle with. Do you feel like you sound like your real self when you speak English? For many people, the answer is not yet. Some feel less confident, others feel too formal, and some feel like their English personality is completely different from their personality in their native language. This is normal, and it changes with practice. Here are some natural expressions that help you express identity more authentically. Repeat after me. I'm the kind of person who... I've always been someone who values... One thing people often misunderstand about me is, what really matters to me is... These phrases help you sound more natural and introspective, an essential skill in advanced speaking. Let's talk about a topic that connects deeply with identity: culture. Culture shapes the way we perceive the world, how we interact, and how we interpret messages from others. When you speak English at an advanced level, you are not only using the language, you are understanding cultural nuances. Consider these questions. How does your culture influence the way you interact? Do you come from a direct or indirect communication style? Do people in your culture express emotions openly or more privately? Reflecting on cultural differences helps you understand why certain English expressions feel comfortable or uncomfortable for you. For example, imagine someone asks you a personal question. Depending on your culture, you might respond, "I'd rather not talk about that." Or, "Oh, sure, let me explain." Both are completely natural, but the choice relies on your comfort level and cultural background. Let's proceed into another advanced topic: describing complex experiences at higher levels. You need to describe not just what happened, but how it felt, why it mattered, and what you learned from it. Here are some advanced storytelling tools. Say it aloud. It was one of those moments that really stayed with me. I did not realize it at the time, but looking back, it taught me a valuable lesson. It felt like a turning point in my life. That experience shaped the way I perceive things today. These expressions make your English richer and more nuanced. Now, let's look at a topic that people around the globe can identify with: dealing with changes. Life changes constantly. New jobs, new environments, new people, new challenges. And these changes give you meaningful opportunities to use advanced English phrases. Here are some natural expressions related to change. Your turn. I'm still adjusting to the new situation. It took me a while to get used to it. I've been trying to adapt as best as I can. It was a big transition, but I handled it step by step. These are extremely common in native-level conversations. Take a moment to reflect in English. What's a recent change in your life? Was it difficult or exciting? How did you adapt to it? Thinking through these questions in English strengthens your advanced speaking skills. Now, let's focus on something that many advanced learners desire: speaking more smoothly without hesitating. One of the secrets to doing this is using conversation fillers and natural pauses. These are not mistakes. They are what native speakers do to sound natural. Here are some examples. Repeat after me. Let me think for a second. To be honest, the thing is, if I'm being completely straightforward. Using these phrases gives your brain a moment to think while keeping your speech flowing naturally. Let's now dive into a topic that is essential for expressing maturity and emotional intelligence: managing conflict or disagreement respectfully. Here are advanced polite methods to disagree or express limits. Say it with me. I see your point, but I have a different perspective. I understand where you are coming from, although I do not fully agree. I appreciate your thoughts, but I see things a bit differently. I'm not comfortable with that. To be honest, I do not think that approach works for me. These expressions allow you to protect your boundaries while still sounding calm and respectful. Next, let's discuss goal setting and ambition, something that advanced learners often express in job interviews, academic settings, and personal conversations. Here are some natural advanced expressions. Your turn to practice. I'm working toward improving my long-term career prospects. One of my main goals this year is to expand my skill set. I'm aiming to challenge myself more intellectually. I desire to reach a point where I can express myself effortlessly in English. These kinds of sentences demonstrate confidence and clear direction. Now, let's talk about something deeper and more reflective: how your past shapes your present. Advanced dialogue often involves reflecting on childhood, past choices, old habits, or key life events. Here are some natural advanced expressions. Repeat after me. Growing up, I did not fully appreciate. One thing my childhood taught me was. In hindsight, I realized that experience had a significant influence on who I am today. Reflecting in English helps you develop emotional fluency. Let's pause and reflect. Is there an event from your past that changed you? What did you learn from it? How does it affect the way you think today? These are the types of reflections that build true C1 and C2 fluency. To close this section, recall this: advanced English is not about big words. It's about depth, clarity, and confidence. It's about expressing who you are, your personality, your emotions, your experiences in a natural and meaningful way. As we continue this advanced English practice, let's dive into a topic that plays a major role in high-level communication: understanding subtle meaning and reading between the lines. At C1 and C2 levels, people do not always state exactly what they mean. Instead, they hint, imply, or express thoughts indirectly. Being able to recognize this is a sign of true fluency. For example, imagine someone states, "I might need some assistance with this if you're not too busy." They are not just asking for assistance. They are also being polite, considering your schedule, and trying not to sound demanding. Advanced English speakers notice the tone, purpose, and emotion behind the words. Here are some expressions that often carry subtle meaning. Say these aloud. "It's fine." "Do not worry about it." Often means it's not actually fine, but I do not desire to argue. "That's interesting." Can mean I disagree, but I'm being polite. "I'll think about it." Often means probably no, but I do not desire to state it directly. "You're welcome to join us if you'd like," meaning I'm inviting you, but I do not desire to pressure you. Learning to understand these hidden meanings helps you communicate smoothly in both personal and professional situations. Let's look at this deeper with a few reflective questions. Do people in your country speak directly, or do they speak indirectly? Have you ever misunderstood someone because of subtle expressions? Do you prefer communication that is clear or communication that is diplomatic? These are topics often discussed among advanced English speakers because communication style varies greatly around the globe. Now, let's shift to a skill that truly separates intermediate speakers from advanced speakers: expressing complex reactions. Instead of using simple phrases like "that's nice" or "that's bad," advanced speakers express reactions with nuance. Here are some examples. Repeat after me. "That caught me off guard." "I was not expecting that at all." "That actually makes a lot of sense." "I can see why you'd feel that way." "That must have been difficult to deal with." These expressions are natural and widely used by native speakers. Let's proceed on to another essential topic: building strong conversational flow. At advanced levels, dialogue is not just about speaking. It's about maintaining rhythm, responding spontaneously, and keeping the interaction alive. Here are some tools that help: softening your opinions. Your turn. "I might be wrong, but it seems to me that," if I'm being honest. Demonstrating interest. "Really? What happened next?" "That sounds fascinating. Tell me more." "How did you manage that?" Extending the dialogue. "Speaking of that, that reminds me of," now that you mention it. These are the kinds of expressions that help you hold long, meaningful conversations. Now, let's talk about a topic that people across the globe relate to deeply: dealing with emotional fatigue. Our modern world is fast, competitive, and filled with expectations. Many people carry emotional pressure quietly. Being able to talk about this in English requires advanced emotional vocabulary. Here are some expressions. Say it with me. "I've been mentally drained lately." "I'm trying to recharge and take better care of myself." "I've been feeling disconnected." "I'm overwhelmed, but I'm managing." "I'm working on protecting my peace." These sentences help you express emotional reality in a mature and natural way. Let's pause for reflection. What do you usually do when you feel emotionally tired? Do you talk to someone or do you stay quiet? How do you take care of your mental well-being? Thinking through these questions in English helps you develop emotional fluency and self-awareness. Now, let's turn to something lighter but equally important, talking about daily routines in a detailed, advanced way. Many learners think daily routines are simple topics, but at C1 and C2 levels, you can describe them with much more depth. For example, instead of stating, "I wake up and go to work," an advanced speaker might state, "Repeat after me. I generally start my morning slowly, giving myself a few minutes to get mentally ready for the day. Then I head to work, where I attempt to organize my priorities before things get too busy." See how much richer and more natural that sounds? Let's look at advanced methods to describe routines. Your turn. I've been trying to create healthier habits lately. My mornings are generally chaotic, but I'm working on improving them. I take a few minutes each day to reflect and plan ahead. I attempt to end my day with something relaxing. These are the kinds of expressions people use in real conversations everywhere in the world. Now, let's proceed to a topic that advanced speakers often enjoy exploring: personal philosophy. Your personal philosophy includes your beliefs about happiness, success, relationships, discipline, and how to live a meaningful life. Here are some natural methods to express personal philosophy. Say it aloud. I attempt to remind myself that progress matters more than perfection. I believe that small acts of kindness can change someone's day. I've learned that comparison only makes life harder. One principle I attempt to follow is to stay grateful no matter what happens. These expressions demonstrate maturity and clarity in your communication. Take a moment to reflect. What beliefs guide your life? What do you value most right now? Has your philosophy changed over the years? Thinking about these topics in English strengthens your high-level fluency and emotional vocabulary. Before we close this part, let's introduce one more key skill for advanced learners: expressing doubt, hesitation, and uncertainty naturally. Here are some common expressions. Repeat after me. I'm not entirely convinced. I'm still weighing my options. I'm torn between two choices. I haven't made up my mind yet. I'm uncertain, but I'm open to possibilities. These expressions help you communicate clearly even when you do not have a definite answer, something native speakers do all the time. This brings us to the end of Part 7. In the next section, we will dive into deeper discussions, more emotional topics, natural storytelling, and additional advanced expressions that help you sound fully fluent. As we continue this advanced English practice, let's focus on a topic that plays a major role in deep, meaningful conversations: understanding yourself and your emotional patterns. At C1 and C2 levels, people often talk about not only what they do, but why they do it. They talk about their fears, motivations, reactions, and personal growth. Let's start with a perspective many people share. Sometimes we do not fully understand our own reactions until much later. Something happens, we respond emotionally, and only afterward do we think, "Why did I act like that?" This type of emotional reflection is common in advanced English discussions because it requires complex thought and rich vocabulary. Here are some advanced expressions for emotional self-awareness. Your turn to practice. I've realized I tend to overthink things more than I should. I'm learning to recognize my triggers and manage them better. I've noticed that I shut down when I feel overwhelmed. I'm trying to understand where these emotions are coming from. I've been reflecting on my behavior lately, and it's been eye-opening. These phrases help you talk about emotions in a deep, honest, and sophisticated way. Let's pause and reflect. Do you often analyze your emotions? Are you aware of your own patterns, or do you generally just go with the flow? Have you learned anything new about yourself recently? Thinking about these questions in English strengthens your ability to express subtle internal experiences. Now, let's shift into something incredibly useful for advanced communicators: the skill of expressing encouragement and support. In English-speaking cultures, offering support verbally is very common, whether in friendships, the workplace, or daily life. Being able to encourage someone naturally is a strong sign of fluency. Here are some advanced, supportive expressions. Say it with me. I know things are tough right now, but I'm confident you'll get through this. You've made more progress than you realize. I genuinely believe in your abilities. Do not undervalue how far you've come. You're doing better than you give yourself credit for. These phrases help you create warmth, empathy, and emotional connection. Next, let's look at a topic that advanced speakers frequently discuss: the impact of culture and environment on personal growth. Our backgrounds influence our values, our habits, our dreams, and even the pace at which we live. Consider these questions. Do you come from a fast-paced or slow-paced culture? Do people in your country value independence or community more? How has your cultural background shaped your ambitions? These are deeper questions that help you reflect on your identity and expressing your thoughts in English more confidently. Let's proceed to another essential topic for advanced communication: decision-making. At C1 and C2 levels, you need to express how you make choices, how you evaluate options, and how you think about consequences. Here are some useful expressions. Repeat after me. I'm weighing the pros and cons before making a final decision. I'm trying to think things through carefully. I tend to follow my intuition when the situation is unclear. I prefer to gather as much information as possible before deciding. I'm still considering all my options. These sentences help you sound thoughtful and balanced. Now, let's talk about a universal theme: learning from failure. Everyone fails at some point. What matters is what we learn, how we respond, and how we move forward. Discussing failure in English requires emotional maturity and advanced vocabulary. Here are some powerful expressions. Your turn. It was a setback, but it pushed me to grow. That experience taught me a lesson I really needed. At first, I was disappointed, but eventually I found clarity. Looking back, I'm grateful things did not go as planned. It was not easy, but it helped me develop resilience. These expressions demonstrate depth and reflect real human experience. Let's pause to reflect. What's a failure you learned something valuable from? How did it change your perspective? Did it help you become stronger or more self-aware? Thinking through this in English helps you practice emotional storytelling. Now, let's dive into a topic that appears often in advanced conversations: navigating uncertainty about the future. People everywhere wonder what lies ahead. Career changes, life paths, relationships, dreams, opportunities. Advanced speakers express this using natural phrases like, say it aloud. I'm unsure what the future holds, but I'm staying optimistic. I'm trying to stay open to new possibilities. I do not have everything figured out yet, but I'm taking things one day at a time. I'm exploring different paths and seeing where they lead. I'm learning to be flexible with my expectations. These expressions sound natural, confident, and emotionally balanced. Next, let's discuss an advanced skill essential for both professional and personal dialogues: giving constructive feedback. Many English learners hesitate because they do not want to sound rude. But with the right expressions, you can give feedback politely and respectfully. Here are natural expressions. Repeat after me. One thing that could improve is, have you considered trying? I think it might help if. Something you did really well was. Your effort is clear, and with a few adjustments, this could be even stronger. These are excellent for workplace discussions, group projects, and everyday interactions. Now, let's focus on something lighter: sparking interesting conversations. At advanced levels, you want to discuss a wide range of topics, not just basics like food or weather. Here are conversation starters advanced speakers use. Your turn. What's something you've been curious about lately? Have you read or watched anything thought-provoking recently? What's a belief you held in the past but changed your mind about? What's something you're looking forward to? These questions lead to meaningful, enjoyable conversations that help you practice sophisticated English. Before we close this section, let's focus on one more important skill: expressing gratitude with depth and sincerity. Here are advanced expressions. Say it with me. I truly appreciate your kindness. Thank you for taking the time to help me. It means a lot to me. I'm grateful for your support and understanding. I do not take your effort for granted. These expressions make your communication more heartfelt and natural. As we continue this advanced English practice, let's shift into a topic that becomes essential for C1 and C2 fluency: persuasive communication. Persuasion is not about arguing or forcing someone to agree. It's about presenting your ideas clearly, logically, and respectfully, so others can understand your point of view. In everyday life, persuasion appears everywhere. Convincing someone to try something new, explaining why you think a certain choice is better, or sharing your assessment in a discussion. At advanced levels, you need language that helps you express your thoughts persuasively without sounding aggressive or emotional. Here are some natural persuasive expressions. Repeat after me. One reason I believe this is because, based on what I've observed, the evidence suggests that. What makes me think this is, from a practical standpoint. These phrases allow you to sound confident and logical while still remaining courteous and open-minded. Let's look at an example. Imagine you are trying to explain why learning English daily is more effective than studying only once a week. Instead of stating it's better to learn every day, an advanced speaker might state, say it aloud. One clear advantage of daily practice is that it helps you retain information longer. The consistency keeps your brain actively engaged, which leads to faster progress. This kind of reasoning demonstrates mature, persuasive communication. Now, let's proceed into a topic that demonstrates emotional intelligence: managing misunderstandings. No matter how fluent you are, misunderstandings happen, especially in a second language. What matters is how you respond when they occur. Here are advanced expressions for resolving misunderstandings calmly. Your turn. Sorry, I think there might have been a misunderstanding. Let me clarify what I meant. I may not have expressed that clearly. Let me rephrase it. I see what you mean. Let's make sure we are on the same page. Thanks for pointing that out. Here's what I was trying to say. These phrases help you stay composed, respectful, and clear. Now, let's look at another important advanced skill: expressing subtle emotions. Intermediate speakers use simple emotional words like happy, sad, or angry. Advanced speakers use more specific feelings. Repeat after me. I'm feeling a bit uncertain. I'm quietly excited about this opportunity. I'm slightly irritated, but it's manageable. I feel a mixture of relief and worry. I'm emotionally exhausted, but I'm staying hopeful. These phrases help you communicate more accurately and naturally. At C1 and C2 levels, emotional precision is a powerful tool. It deepens your conversations and makes your English feel alive. Let's pause and reflect. What subtle emotions have you felt recently? Do you find it easy or difficult to express these emotions in English? How do you want to improve your emotional vocabulary? Thinking through this helps you build deeper fluency. Now, let's transition to another core topic: professional English. Advanced learners often need English for work, meetings, presentations, interviews, or communicating with international teams. The key is sounding both professional and natural. Here are some advanced workplace expressions. Say it with me. I'd like to highlight an important point. Let's take a closer look at the data. To move forward effectively, we should... Could you clarify what you meant by that? One potential solution we could look at is... These expressions help you sound confident and capable in professional environments. Let's imagine a common workplace scenario. Someone shares a proposal and you want to respond professionally. Instead of stating, "I don't like it," you could state, "Your turn. I appreciate the concept, though I have some concerns about how practical it is. Possibly we could explore an alternative approach." This phrasing demonstrates professionalism, respect, and advanced fluency. Now, let's shift into a topic people find relatable worldwide: navigating modern life pressures. Technology, expectations, financial responsibilities, and constant comparison can make people feel overwhelmed. Being able to talk about these issues in English helps you express your thoughts naturally. Here are some advanced expressions. Repeat after me. I've been feeling the pressure to keep up with everything. It's hard not to compare myself to others. Sometimes I feel like modern life moves faster than I can manage. I'm trying to disconnect from digital noise when possible. I've been working on finding healthier methods to cope with stress. These sentences appear often in real, meaningful conversations with native speakers. Now let's talk about a powerful topic: personal transformation. People change over time through new experiences, challenges, relationships, or opportunities. At advanced levels, you need language to articulate this growth. Here are some nuanced expressions. Say it aloud. I'm not the same person I used to be. I've grown a lot in the past few years. My experiences have shaped me in unexpected ways. I've learned to set better boundaries. I've become more patient and less reactive. Talking about growth in this way demonstrates introspection and emotional depth. Take a moment to reflect. How have you changed in the last few years? Are you proud of your growth? What transformation are you still working on? Thinking about these questions in English is excellent advanced level practice. Now, let's explore one of the most vital advanced skills, using metaphors and figurative language. Native speakers use metaphors constantly, and mastering them helps you sound more expressive. Here are some natural metaphors. Your turn to practice. I feel like I'm carrying the weight of the world on my shoulders. That opportunity slipped through my fingers. I'm turning over a new leaf. That experience opened my eyes. I'm walking into unfamiliar territory. These expressions appear in everyday dialogue, movies, books, and professional settings. Next, let's discuss building deeper connections through conversation. Advanced English is not just about language. It's about relating to people, asking meaningful questions, and sharing experiences. Here are strong connection-building questions. Repeat after me. What's something that changed your perspective recently? What do you value most in your life right now? When was the last time you stepped out of your comfort zone? What's a lesson life has taught you the hard way? These questions open the door to deeper, richer dialogue. Before we end this section, let's focus on a final advanced skill, expressing long-term vision and future thinking. Here are useful expressions. Say it with me. I'm working toward a future where I feel more balanced. I hope to create a life that reflects my values. I want to challenge myself and reach my full potential. I'm building habits that my future self will appreciate. These expressions help you talk about dreams and ambitions with clarity and depth. As we continue this advanced English journey, let's proceed into another essential area for C1 to C2 speakers, expressing complex thoughts clearly. At this level, it's not enough to know grammar. You need to express subtle ideas, clarify reasoning, and share layered opinions. Let's start with language that helps you present balanced viewpoints. Here are some natural expressions. Your turn. On one hand, but on the other hand, while I understand that perspective, I see it slightly differently. I agree to some extent, though I have some reservations. It's a complicated issue with multiple sides worth considering. There's no simple answer, but here's how I see it. These phrases help you sound nuanced and thoughtful, which is essential for advanced communication. Now, let's focus on a topic that appears frequently in advanced conversations: life priorities. People often discuss what matters most to them: well-being, family, personal growth, career, freedom, stability, or happiness. Being able to express priorities clearly demonstrates mature reasoning. Here are natural expressions. Repeat after me. I'm trying to prioritize my well-being more these days. I've realized that peace of mind matters more to me than anything else. I'm focusing on long-term happiness rather than short-term gains. I'm learning to value experiences over material things. I'm trying to strike a balance between ambition and rest. These sentences help you articulate what truly matters to you. Let's pause and reflect. What are your priorities right now? Have they changed over the years? What do you want to prioritize moving forward? Thinking through these questions in English helps deepen your fluency. Now let's shift into an advanced conversational theme: human behavior and psychology. Many real discussions revolve around understanding why people act the way they do. This topic naturally invites complex vocabulary and structured thinking. Here are some useful expressions. Say it aloud. People often act out of fear, even when they do not realize it. Our behavior is deeply influenced by our environment. It's easier to judge others than to understand them. People sometimes repeat unhealthy patterns without noticing. Most conflicts originate from unmet expectations. These sentences help you discuss psychological ideas with clarity. Let's proceed deeper into this topic with something universal: why people struggle to change. Change is uncomfortable. Even when we want to improve our habits, mindset, or lifestyle, we often fall back into old patterns. Here are some advanced methods to express this. Your turn. Change requires consistency, which many people undervalue. It's difficult to grow when you're surrounded by the same environment. People often fear losing what's familiar, even if it is not good for them. We tend to choose comfort over transformation. Real change starts with awareness, not perfection. These ideas help you explore deeper topics in English. Now, let's look at a domain that advanced learners must master: explaining complex problems and solutions. This is especially useful for work presentations and debates. Here are some structured methods to present a problem. Repeat after me. The main issue we are facing is. One factor contributing to this situation is. What complicates the problem is. The challenge lies in balancing these conflicting needs. And here are methods to present solutions. Say it with me. One possible approach would be. A long-term solution might involve. We could explore breaking the problem down into smaller steps. It may help to look at this issue from a different angle. These structures help you sound organized and intelligent. Next, let's proceed into a topic that advanced speakers value discussing: philosophy and deeper life questions. Philosophical dialogues are powerful because they compel you to think, expand your vocabulary, and articulate abstract ideas. Here are some philosophical prompts. Your turn. What does it truly mean to live a meaningful life? Do you think people are shaped more by their choices or their circumstances? Is happiness something we create or something we discover? Why do we fear uncertainty when it's a natural part of life? Do you think humans are becoming more connected or more isolated? These kinds of questions make conversations more intellectually stimulating. Now, let's proceed into an important aspect of C1 to C2 English: emotional storytelling. Being able to describe personal experiences with emotion, detail, and reflection demonstrates mastery. Here's a natural storytelling structure. Describe the situation. Clarify how you felt. Highlight the conflict or challenge. Share the lesson or insight you gained. Let's look at an example. Listen to how this sounds. A few years ago, I faced a difficult decision that forced me to choose between stability and personal growth. At first, I felt anxious and uncertain. But eventually, I realized that the risk was worth taking. That experience taught me that fear often hides opportunities. This kind of storytelling is authentic and compelling. Take a moment to reflect. What's an experience that changed you? What lesson did you learn from it? How would you describe it using the structure above? Thinking through this boosts your fluency dramatically. Now, let's expand into a topic relevant to every advanced learner: building meaningful relationships. Healthy relationships rely on communication, empathy, trust, and vulnerability, topics that naturally require sophisticated language. Here are some expressions. Say it aloud. I'm learning to communicate more openly with the people around me. I value relationships where both sides feel respected and understood. I'm trying to surround myself with people who encourage growth. I've realized that healthy boundaries strengthen relationships. I appreciate people who are genuine and emotionally intelligent. These ideas deepen your conversational skills. Now, let's turn to something equally important: developing emotional resilience. Life is unpredictable, and advanced speakers often reflect on how they cope with challenges, stress, or setbacks. Here are some natural expressions. Your turn. I'm learning to accept things I cannot control. I'm working on staying calm during difficult moments. I'm trying to respond instead of react. I'm focusing on solutions rather than problems. I've learned to be patient with my own progress. These sentences help you express emotional maturity. Next, let's talk about the language of curiosity and exploration. Another sign of advanced fluency. Curiosity keeps conversations alive and demonstrates enthusiasm. Here are some natural expressions. Repeat after me. I've always been fascinated by, I wonder what would happen if. I've been exploring the concept of, it makes me curious how. I'd want to understand more about. These phrases help you sound engaged and intelligent. Before we wrap up this section, let's focus on one more advanced communication skill: expressing doubt while staying confident. Here are natural expressions. Say it with me. I'm not entirely sure, but I think. I could be wrong, but my impression is it's hard to say for certain. Though it seems like I do not have all the answers, but here's my perspective. I'm still figuring this out, but here's what I've noticed. These phrases make your English sound realistic, balanced, and thoughtful. This brings us to the end of Part 10. In the next section, we will explore advanced conversational speed, natural transitions, deeper emotional vocabulary, and even more C1 to C2 patterns to elevate your speaking. As we move forward with this advanced English practice, let's shift into a skill that separates intermediate speakers from truly advanced ones: speaking with natural transitions. Transitions help your speech flow smoothly. They connect ideas, guide the listener, and make your English sound polished and effortless. Here are some natural transition phrases. Your turn to practice. Speaking of that, this reminds me of something important. Now that we've talked about this, let's take it a step further. On a related note, to put it simply, let's look at it from another angle. Using transitions like these helps you sound coherent and confident, especially in long discussions, presentations, or storytelling. Now, let's look at another advanced communication skill: expressing deep personal insights. At C1 and C2 levels, you need to express thoughts that are subtle, reflective, and emotionally rich. Here are some phrases advanced speakers use. Repeat after me. I've realized something about myself recently. The older I get, the more I understand that. I've been rethinking the way I approach. One thing life has taught me is I'm beginning to see things differently now. These expressions help you sound introspective and thoughtful. Let's proceed into a topic that many learners find challenging: abstract thinking. Native speakers often talk about ideas, identity, motivation, relationships, culture, habits, fears, not just concrete things. This requires sophisticated language. Here are some great abstract thinking expressions. Say it aloud. People often undervalue the impact of small habits. Identity is shaped by both our choices and our environment. We create meaning through the stories we tell ourselves. Growth usually happens outside our comfort zone. Most people do not realize how much their mindset affects their actions. Practicing these helps you go beyond surface-level English. Now, let's discuss something practical and important: expressing emotional boundaries. Healthy communication often requires setting limits politely. Advanced speakers must be able to say no or express discomfort without sounding rude. Here are some natural boundary-setting expressions. Your turn. I'm not comfortable with that, but thank you for understanding. I'd prefer not to discuss that right now. I appreciate the offer, but I'll have to decline. That does not work for me, but I hope we can find another solution. I need some time to myself at the moment. Learning these phrases helps you communicate respectfully and protecting your emotional space. Now, let's shift to another essential skill: talking about long-term goals with clarity. At advanced levels, you need to express dreams, aspirations, and future plans in a structured way. Here are some natural phrases. Repeat after me. I'm working toward building a more fulfilling life. One of my long-term goals is to... I hope to create opportunities that align with my values. I'm developing skills that will support my future ambitions. I'm trying to build consistency toward the life I envision. These expressions help you talk confidently about your future. Let's pause and reflect. What long-term goals do you have right now? Are they personal, professional, or emotional? What steps are you taking to move closer to them? Thinking about these questions in English helps deepen your fluency and clarity. Now, let's focus on one of the most vital aspects of advanced communication: talking about relationships with nuance. Relationships, friendships, family, romantic connections, work dynamics require emotional intelligence and careful language. Here are some advanced expressions. Say it with me. I'm learning to appreciate people who respect my boundaries. I value relationships where honesty and kindness go hand in hand. I'm trying to communicate more openly with the people I care about. I've realized that healthy relationships require effort from both sides. It's important for me to feel seen and understood. These sentences help you express emotional depth clearly. Now, let's shift to expressing motivation and discipline, two topics people all over the globe talk about. Here are some advanced methods to express these ideas. Your turn. I'm trying to build habits that support my progress. I'm learning to stay disciplined even when motivation fades. I'm focusing on long-term consistency rather than short bursts of effort. I'm working on creating systems that keep me accountable. I'm trying to replace excuses with action. Expressions like these sound natural and powerful. Let's explore a slightly different topic: dealing with uncertainty in life. People often encounter choices without clear answers. Talking about uncertainty in English requires mature, balanced language. Here are some useful expressions. Repeat after me. I do not have everything figured out yet, but I'm doing my best. I'm learning to embrace uncertainty rather than fear it. The future is unpredictable, but I'm staying hopeful. I'm trying to trust the process even when the path is not clear. I'm open to wherever life leads me. These sentences help you express complexity with calmness and clarity. Next, let's build your ability to use figurative and expressive language, which is essential for sounding natural. Here are more metaphors and expressions native speakers use. Say it aloud. I feel like I'm standing at a crossroads. I'm trying to find the light at the end of the tunnel. It felt like a breath of fresh air. I'm carrying emotional baggage I need to let go of. That moment was a turning point in my life. Using these expressions gives your English a richer and more colorful tone. Now, let's explore advanced conversational empathy. Responding in a way that demonstrates understanding and emotional support. Here are some natural, empathetic responses. Your turn. I can see why you'd feel that way. That sounds really challenging. Thank you for sharing it. I understand why that would bother you. You handled that situation better than you realize. I'm here for you if you need anything. These responses help you build deeper, more meaningful connections in English. Next, let's discuss something extremely valuable at higher levels: the ability to express contradictions within yourself. Humans are complex. We often feel two opposite things at the same time. Being able to express this makes your English sound natural and nuanced. Here are some expressions. Repeat after me. I'm excited, but also nervous. I'm grateful, yet I still feel overwhelmed. I'm confident in my skills, but I sometimes doubt myself. I want change, but I'm afraid of what it might bring. I feel both hopeful and uncertain. These expressions sound authentic and emotionally intelligent. Before we end this section, let's touch on one more advanced topic: describing personal growth through challenges. Here are some powerful expressions. Say it with me. That experience forced me to grow in ways I did not expect. It taught me responsibility and discipline. I learned how strong I really am. It helped me understand myself on a deeper level. That challenge changed me in a meaningful way. Talking about personal evolution like this demonstrates emotional maturity and C2 level fluency. As we continue this advanced English practice, let's proceed into a skill that C1 and C2 speakers must master: advanced storytelling. Clear storytelling is important, but emotional storytelling is what truly captivates listeners and keeps them engaged. It transforms basic language into expressive, meaningful communication. Let's look at a natural structure used by fluent speakers. Set the scene. When did the event happen? Describe the emotion. How did you feel before, during, and after? Clarify the conflict. What challenge or problem appeared? Demonstrate the turning point. What moment changed the situation? Share the insight. What did you learn from it? Here's an example of how an advanced speaker might narrate a story. Listen to how this sounds. A few months ago, I went through a situation that pushed me outside my comfort zone. At first, I felt uncertain and overwhelmed because I was not sure how things would turn out. But then something shifted. I made one small decision that changed everything. Looking back now, I'm grateful because that experience helped me understand my own resilience. This style of storytelling is emotional, structured, and natural, and it keeps listeners interested. Now, let's talk about one of the most sophisticated communication skills: expressing nuanced opinions. At C1 and C2 levels, opinions are rarely simple. They are layered, balanced, and supported with reasoning. Here are some useful phrases. Repeat after me. I can see both sides of the issue, but I lean toward, while I acknowledge the benefits, I'm cautious about. It's a complex topic and my thoughts are still evolving. I agree in principle, though the execution matters a lot. My perspective might be influenced by my own experiences. These sentences sound thoughtful, mature, and realistic. Let's take a moment to discuss a topic many advanced speakers discuss: finding balance in life. Balancing work and rest, ambition and peace, independence and connection. Here are some natural expressions. Say it aloud. I'm trying to find a healthier balance between productivity and well-being. I've realized that constant busyness does not always lead to fulfillment. I'm learning to slow down without feeling guilty. I'm beginning to prioritize quality over quantity. I'm focusing on creating a lifestyle that supports my mental health. These expressions are common in real conversations around the globe. Now, let's explore one of the most vital advanced skills: expressing disagreement respectfully. Disagreement is natural, but the way you express it demonstrates your level of fluency and emotional intelligence. Here are courteous disagreement phrases. Your turn. I see your point, though I view it differently. I understand what you mean, but I'm not entirely convinced. That's an interesting perspective, but from my experience, I respect your assessment, though I'd like to offer another angle. I'm not sure I completely agree, but I appreciate the discussion. Notice how none of these phrases sound rude or confrontational. Now, let's shift into something powerful: deep emotional vocabulary. Intermediate speakers often use basic words like happy, sad, or angry, but advanced speakers use more precise emotional language. Here are some emotional vocabulary upgrades. Repeat after me. Instead of happy, say content, fulfilled, uplifted, in high spirits, deeply pleased. Instead of sad, say downhearted, disappointed, discouraged, emotionally drained, heavy-hearted. Instead of angry, say frustrated, irritated, upset, agitated, resentful. Instead of nervous, say uneasy, on edge, restless, anxious, unsettled. These words make your English far more expressive. Let's practice emotional precision with a short reflection. Consider something that happened recently. What emotion did you feel exactly? Was it frustration, relief, confusion, excitement? Attempt to name the emotion with greater detail. Now, let's proceed on to another advanced topic: reflecting on past mistakes without judgment. This is an important part of emotional maturity and natural English communication. Here are some natural expressions. Say it with me. I did not handle this situation perfectly, but I learned from it. I can see now that I reacted emotionally instead of thoughtfully. At the time, I did not understand what I understand today. It was a mistake, but it helped me grow. I'm kinder to myself about it now. These expressions demonstrate clarity, honesty, and compassion. Next, let's look at another essential skill: expressing ambition and drive. People around the globe desire to grow, achieve, and improve. And advanced speakers must talk about these goals clearly. Here are some phrases. Your turn. I'm pushing myself to reach a higher level. I want to challenge myself and step into bigger opportunities. I'm striving to develop skills that match my aspirations. I'm working on becoming a better version of myself. I'm doing everything I can to create a future I'm proud of. These sentences sound confident and inspiring. Now, let's proceed into a deeper topic: understanding personal limitations. Being honest about your limits is not weakness, it's emotional intelligence. Here are natural expressions. Repeat after me. I'm learning to accept that I cannot do everything at once. I'm becoming more aware of my own limits. I'm trying not to overextend myself. I recognize that I need rest to function well. I'm learning to say no when necessary. These phrases help you sound self-aware and grounded. Let's shift into another advanced concept: adjusting your expectations. Humans often expect too much from themselves or others, which leads to frustration. Here are natural expressions. Say it aloud. I'm trying to set more realistic expectations for myself. I've learned to let go of perfection. I'm adjusting my expectations to fit reality. I used to expect too much from people, but I'm learning to be more understanding. I'm giving myself space to grow gradually. These sentences demonstrate emotional maturity and depth. Now, let's talk about a topic relevant to everyone: overthinking. People around the globe struggle with thinking too much, worrying too much, or analyzing everything. Here are some advanced expressions. Your turn. I tend to get lost in my thoughts sometimes. I'm learning not to overanalyze every situation. My mind often jumps to the worst-case scenario. I'm trying to trust myself instead of overthinking everything. I've been practicing letting go of unnecessary worries. These are common in real conversations with native speakers. Before we end this section, let's focus on expressing hope and looking forward to the future. Another key part of advanced communication. Here are some phrases. Repeat after me. I'm optimistic about what lies ahead. I'm hopeful that things will work out. I'm looking forward to new opportunities. I believe the future holds something meaningful for me. I'm excited to see how things unfold. These expressions help you end conversations on a positive, uplifting note. Here are some expressions fluent speakers use when they're unsure but still confident. Say it with me. I'm not entirely certain, but here's what I think. I may need to double-check this, but my understanding is, I'm still figuring this out, but from my perspective, I'll attempt to explain it as clearly as I can. This is just my initial thought. But these phrases help you continue speaking smoothly without hesitation or panic. Now, let's proceed into one of the most meaningful topics advanced speakers discuss: identity and purpose. People around the globe are constantly thinking about who they are, what they want, and how they want to live. Talking about these subjects naturally requires deeper vocabulary and thoughtful expression. Here are some natural expressions. Your turn to practice. I'm still discovering who I am and who I want to become. My sense of purpose has shifted over the years. I'm trying to understand what truly matters to me. I'm learning to define success on my own terms. I'm figuring out what kind of life I want to create. These sentences demonstrate emotional clarity and personal insight. Let's pause for a moment and reflect. What parts of your identity are you still exploring? What values guide your choices? What gives you a sense of purpose or direction? Thinking about these questions in English strengthens your expressive skills. Now, let's discuss a topic that appears often among fluent speakers: cultural awareness. Understanding different cultures helps you communicate more naturally with people from around the globe. Culture influences communication style, humor, politeness, body language, and expectations. Here are some advanced expressions. Repeat after me. I've noticed cultural differences in how people express emotions. Where I come from, people tend to communicate indirectly. In some cultures, silence is a sign of respect rather than discomfort. Cultural norms shape how we interpret situations. I've become more aware of how my background influences my perspective. These sentences help you navigate multicultural conversations with ease. Now, let's shift into another advanced topic: self-expression and authenticity. Speaking authentically means expressing your real thoughts, feelings, and beliefs, even if they're complicated. Here are some natural expressions. Say it aloud. I'm trying to express myself more honestly. I'm learning to speak up instead of staying silent. I want my actions to reflect my values. I'm becoming more comfortable with being myself. I no longer feel the need to hide certain parts of who I am. These are powerful statements that demonstrate emotional maturity and confidence. Next, let's focus on a skill that advanced speakers frequently use: giving thoughtful advice. Advice in English should be kind, realistic, and respectful, not forceful. Here are some natural expressions. Your turn. If I were in your position, I'd consider. One approach that might help is, you might find it useful. 2. Something that worked for me was, only you can decide, but here's my perspective. These phrases allow you to support someone without sounding controlling. Now, let's discuss a topic that many learners value: personal development. Growth is something people all around the globe care about, and discussing it requires rich, thoughtful vocabulary. Here are some natural expressions. Repeat after me. I'm working on becoming more disciplined. I'm learning to take responsibility for my actions. I'm focusing on improving my emotional habits. I'm trying to build confidence step by step. I'm committed to becoming the best version of myself. These phrases appear constantly in advanced conversations. Let's proceed to another essential area: managing conflict and difficult conversations. Conflict is part of life, and handling it calmly is a sign of maturity. Here are some advanced expressions. Say it with me. I'd like us to talk about this calmly and respectfully. I understand your frustration, and here's how I feel. I want to find a solution that works for both of us. Let's attempt to understand each other instead of arguing. I'm open to hearing your perspective. These sentences help you communicate with empathy and clarity. Now, let's explore a deeper emotional skill: forgiving yourself and others. Forgiveness is complex and often difficult, but it's a topic many advanced speakers discuss when reflecting on personal experiences. Here are some expressions. Your turn. I'm learning to let go of old grudges. I'm trying to forgive myself for past mistakes. I no longer want to carry emotional weight that does not serve me. I'm choosing peace over resentment. I've realized that forgiveness is more for me than for anyone else. These expressions demonstrate emotional wisdom and fluency. Next, let's proceed into one of the most powerful communication skills, expressing gratitude deeply and sincerely. Gratitude strengthens relationships, improves emotional well-being, and enriches conversations. Here are some natural expressions. Repeat after me. I genuinely appreciate your kindness. Thank you for being patient with me. Your support made a difference. I do not take what you did for granted. I'm grateful for the trust you've shown me. These phrases help you sound heartfelt and authentic. Now, let's shift into a skill that advanced speakers often display: reflecting on life transitions. People go through transitions all the time. Moving to a new place, starting a new job, ending a relationship, changing direction, or reinventing themselves. Here are some natural expressions. Say it aloud. I'm going through a transition, and I'm still adjusting. This change has made me rethink my priorities. I'm learning to trust myself during this period of uncertainty. I did not expect this transition, but I'm doing my best to adapt. This stage of my life is teaching me resilience. These sentences demonstrate calmness, insight, and emotional intelligence. Now, let's explore another advanced topic: understanding human nature. Advanced speakers often discuss why people behave the way they do, what motivates them, and how emotions influence choices. Here are some expressions. Your turn. People often act based on fear rather than logic. Most people want to be understood more than they want to be right. We sometimes project our insecurities onto others. People repeat patterns until they become aware of them. Human behavior is shaped by both experience and emotion. These statements demonstrate psychological awareness and depth. Before we end this section, let's cover a final skill: talking about inspiration and what motivates you. Here are some natural expressions. Repeat after me. I'm inspired by people who stay true to themselves. I admire those who keep going despite challenges. I'm motivated by the idea of creating a meaningful life. I get energy from learning, growing, and contributing. I feel inspired when I see others pursuing their dreams. These expressions help you communicate passion and purpose. As we proceed into this next section of your advanced English practice, let's deepen your ability to express complex reasoning. At the C1 to C2 level, you must be able to clarify why you think something, how you reached a conclusion, and what factors influence your perspective. Here are some natural reasoning structures. Say it with me. The main reason I believe this is because. This conclusion originates from observing that. My perspective is shaped by several factors, including. One piece of evidence that supports this is, based on what I've experienced, it seems that these structures help you sound logical, persuasive, and thoughtful. Skills expected at advanced levels. Now, let's proceed into a deeper and more reflective topic: how people change over time. Humans evolve emotionally, mentally, and spiritually as they go through different life experiences. Being able to express this naturally is essential for advanced communication. Here are some expressions. Your turn to practice. I've changed in ways I never expected. I'm not the person I used to be, and I'm grateful for that. My experiences have forced me to grow and mature. I've learned that growth often comes from discomfort. I've realized that change does not happen overnight. These expressions help you communicate emotional evolution with clarity. Let's pause and reflect for a moment. How have you changed in the last few years? What experiences shaped you the most? What lessons stayed with you? Thinking through these questions in English strengthens your reflective abilities. Now let's explore another high-level skill: expressing philosophical ideas. Philosophical thinking allows you to talk about existence, purpose, meaning, morality, and the human experience using advanced structures. Here are some natural expressions. Repeat after me. Life often teaches us lessons we did not know we needed. The older I get, the more I understand the value of simplicity. Happiness is not something we chase, it's something we cultivate. People often search for certainty in a world full of uncertainty. Meaning is not found, it's created through our choices. These kinds of statements help your English sound wise, thoughtful, and mature. Now let's look at a practical skill: expressing limitations in knowledge. Even experts do not know everything. A strong communicator acknowledges uncertainty without sounding unconfident. Here are natural expressions. Say it aloud. I do not have all the answers, but here's my understanding. My knowledge is limited in this area, but I'll share what I know. I may be mistaken, but from what I've read, this isn't my field of expertise. Though I'm familiar with the basics, I'm still learning about this topic. These phrases help you speak honestly and professionally at the same time. Next, let's discuss something deeply human: talking about emotional wounds and healing. Advanced speakers often open up about challenges, disappointments, or painful experiences, and they use refined vocabulary to describe emotional recovery. Here are some expressions. Your turn. I'm still healing from past experiences. Some wounds take time to fade. I've learned to forgive myself for what I did not know back then. I'm working on rebuilding trust slowly but steadily. I've realized that healing is not linear. These expressions allow you to communicate vulnerability in a mature way. Now, let's shift into something equally profound: expressing empathy through deeper understanding. Here are some natural expressions. Repeat after me. I can imagine how difficult that must have been for you. That sounds incredibly overwhelming. You did not deserve to go through that. It's understandable that you feel this way. I'm glad you shared that with me. It means a lot. Empathetic responses help you build trust, connection, and emotional depth in any conversation. Now, let's proceed toward a topic advanced speakers often enjoy discussing: the human search for meaning and fulfillment. Here are some useful expressions. Say it with me. I'm searching for a life that feels meaningful, not just productive. I've realized that success without fulfillment feels empty. I'm trying to build a life that aligns with my values. I want to contribute to something greater than myself. I'm learning that fulfillment comes from growth, connection, and purpose. These expressions help you express the deeper parts of the human experience. Next, let's talk about communicating uncertainty and resilience in the face of challenges. Here are some natural phrases. Your turn. I'm doing my best even though the outcome is unclear. I do not know what the future holds, but I'm staying hopeful. I'm learning to adapt to unexpected situations. I'm trying to stay grounded during uncertain times. I trust that things will make sense eventually. These sentences demonstrate emotional strength and maturity, essential qualities for advanced fluency. Now, let's proceed into a new theme, talking about global perspectives. At advanced levels, you should be able to discuss the world, society, culture, and human behavior in ways that sound intelligent and informed. Here are some natural expressions. Repeat after me. People around the globe are facing similar challenges, even if the circumstances differ. Globalization has connected us, but it has also highlighted our differences. Cultural values influence how societies approach problems. Technology has changed how we communicate, work, and see the world. Despite our differences, humans share universal hopes and fears. These perspectives help you contribute meaningfully to international conversations. Now, let's focus on another essential advanced skill: communicating maturity in difficult moments. Here are some natural expressions. Say it aloud. I'm choosing to respond calmly rather than react emotionally. I'm trying to manage this situation with grace. I'm focusing on what I can control. I'm learning not to take things personally. I'm practicing patience and trust. These phrases help you express emotional discipline. Before we end this section, let's cover one final advanced skill: talking about purpose, passion, and long-term vision. Here are some natural expressions. Your turn. I want to live a life driven by purpose, not pressure. I'm trying to discover what truly energizes me. I'm committed to growing into the person I'm meant to become. I want my future to reflect both my values and my dreams. I'm building a vision for my life that feels authentic. These statements help you express who you are becoming at the deepest level. As we get closer to the end of this advanced English practice, let's look at a skill that truly distinguishes C1 to C2 speakers: intellectual dialogue. At this level, you should be able to talk about ideas, big ideas, not just events. Ideas about society, human nature, personal growth, creativity, technology, culture, and the future. Let's start with some natural expressions used to introduce intellectual reflections. Repeat after me. One concept I've been thinking about lately is, it's fascinating how. I've been reflecting on the relationship between. It raises an interesting question about. What this really makes me wonder is. These expressions help you introduce thoughtful points and contributing meaningfully to deep conversations. Now, let's proceed into a powerful topic: how modern life affects our emotional well-being. People today often talk about stress, digital overload, and the pressure to succeed. Here are some expressions that sound natural and advanced. Say it with me. Life is moving faster than many of us can emotionally process. The pressure to constantly improve can be overwhelming. I think technology has connected us, but also made us more distracted. Many people feel mentally exhausted without knowing why. I'm learning to create space for silence and mental rest. These expressions help you explore life in a way that resonates with people across cultures. Now, let's discuss another essential concept: self-compassion. Many people are kind to others but harsh toward themselves. Being able to talk about self-compassion in English demonstrates emotional depth. Here are natural expressions. Your turn to practice. I'm trying to be more patient with myself. I'm learning not to criticize myself so harshly. I'm giving myself permission to rest. I'm practicing being gentle with myself during difficult times. I'm learning to celebrate my progress instead of focusing only on my mistakes. These sentences demonstrate maturity and emotional evolution. Now, let's shift into another advanced skill: expressing complex contrasts. Life is full of contradictions, and advanced speakers often express two opposing truths at the same time. Here are some natural expressions. Repeat after me. I feel grateful, yet overwhelmed. I'm confident, but I still have moments of doubt. I'm excited for the future, yet nervous about what's ahead. I want to grow, but part of me fears change. I feel hopeful, even though things are uncertain. These expressions sound honest and emotionally intelligent. Next, let's talk about the language of deep reflection. Reflection is a key part of advanced communication because it demonstrates depth of thought, wisdom, and self-awareness. Here are some reflection-based phrases. Say it aloud. Looking back, I can see how much I've evolved. I did not realize it at the time, but that moment shaped me. I understand now why things unfolded the way they did. That experience taught me something I needed to learn. I'm grateful for the clarity I have today. These sentences make your English sound rich and meaningful. Now, let's proceed into a topic that appears often among advanced speakers: the impact of environments on our behavior. Where you live, the people around you, the culture you're part of, all these influence how you think and act. Here are some natural expressions. Your turn. We become like the environments we spend time in. Some places bring out the best in us, while others drain our energy. The people around us shape our habits more than we realize. Sometimes a change of environment is the first step toward growth. Our surroundings influence our identity in subtle ways. These statements help you express ideas with nuance. Now, let's focus on maturity and emotional intelligence, two essential parts of advanced dialogue. Here are some natural expressions. Repeat after me. I'm learning to pause before reacting. I've realized that not everything deserves my emotional energy. I'm becoming more aware of my emotional triggers. I'm trying to respond with understanding, not judgment. I'm learning to communicate without blaming or assuming. These reflect emotional depth and self-awareness. Next, let's shift into another advanced concept: finding meaning in challenges. Difficult experiences often shape us in powerful ways, and advanced speakers can express this with clarity. Here are some expressions. Say it with me. Challenges often reveal strengths we did not know we had. Sometimes adversity forces us to grow in unexpected ways. Painful moments can become turning points in our lives. Struggle often teaches lessons that comfort never could. Even difficult experiences can plant the seeds of future growth. These sentences help you talk about hardship with perspective and maturity. Now, let's talk about something philosophical: the human desire for connection. No matter where we are from, humans crave understanding, acceptance, and belonging. Here are some natural expressions. Your turn. People desire to feel seen, heard, and understood. We thrive when we feel connected to others. Loneliness is not just physical, it's emotional. Meaningful connection requires vulnerability and trust. We all desire relationships where we feel valued. These ideas resonate no matter your background. Now, let's practice another skill, expressing subtle emotional states. Intermediate speakers use basic emotions. Advanced speakers use layered ones. Here are some examples. Repeat after me. I feel mentally scattered today. I'm emotionally drained but trying to stay positive. I'm feeling quietly hopeful. I'm a bit overwhelmed, but I'll manage. I feel nostalgic in a way that's hard to explain. These phrases make your English sound natural and authentic. Next, let's discuss letting go of perfectionism, a topic many learners relate to. Here are some expressions. Say it aloud. I'm learning to let go of impossible standards. I do not need to be perfect to make progress. I'm focusing on improvement rather than perfection. I'm trying not to compare myself to others. I'm learning to embrace imperfections. These statements help you express mental well-being and realistic expectations. Now, let's look at the language of renewal and starting fresh, another deeply human experience. Here are some natural expressions. Your turn. I'm entering a new chapter of my life. I'm ready to start fresh. I'm letting go of what no longer serves me. I'm giving myself space to grow into something new. I'm stepping into a version of myself that feels more authentic. This style of language is powerful and often used by native speakers in emotional, reflective conversations. Before we close this section, let's discuss expressing clarity after confusion, a skill that advanced speakers often demonstrate. Here are some phrases. Repeat after me. Everything makes more sense now. I finally understand what I could not see before. I've gained a clearer perspective on the situation. What once felt confusing now feels understandable. I see the bigger picture more clearly now. These expressions demonstrate insight, maturity, and growth. As we come to the final section of this advanced English practice, let's bring together all the skills you've been developing throughout this lesson. Clarity, depth, emotional intelligence, natural expression, and confident communication. Let's start this last part with a powerful topic: seeing yourself with honesty and compassion at the C1 to C2 level. This ability helps you communicate more sincerely and thoughtfully. Here are some natural expressions. Say it with me. I'm learning to acknowledge both my strengths and my weaknesses. I'm becoming more aware of the patterns that hold me back. I'm trying to approach my flaws with understanding, not judgment. I'm learning to be proud of how far I've come. I'm giving myself credit for the progress I used to overlook. These phrases demonstrate emotional depth and maturity, key features of advanced communication. Now, let's shift into another meaningful topic: what truly matters in life. People everywhere reflect on meaning, fulfillment, and purpose. And these conversations naturally require advanced vocabulary. Here are some expressions. Your turn to practice. I'm realizing that what matters most is inner peace. I've learned that meaningful relationships are worth more than anything material. I'm focusing on creating a life that feels grounded and authentic. I value experiences that help me grow as a person. I'm trying to live in a way that aligns with my values. These sentences help you express your deeper priorities clearly. Next, let's discuss one of the most advanced communication skills: ending conversations with insight. Closing thoughts should feel intentional and emotionally resonant. Here are some natural closing expressions. Repeat after me. In the end, we're all trying to figure things out as best as we can. At the heart of everything, we just want to live meaningfully. When you look back, the small steps you take today will matter most. Most of life is a balance between holding on and letting go. The journey is just as important as the destination. These help you conclude deep conversations gracefully. Now, let's proceed into a topic that ties everything together: the courage to keep growing. Here are some phrases that reflect this concept. Say it aloud. I'm learning to take small steps, even when I feel uncertain. I'm committed to becoming someone I'm proud of. I'm learning to trust the process, even when it feels slow. I'm taking responsibility for my growth and my future. I'm choosing to believe that better days are ahead. These expressions demonstrate strength, clarity, and purpose. Let's take a moment for a final reflection. Consider everything you have learned, not just today, but throughout your English journey. You've improved your vocabulary, emotional expression, storytelling, reasoning, clarity, and confidence. You've learned to speak naturally, thoughtfully, and authentically. And most importantly, you've learned to trust your voice in English. Now, let's talk about one final advanced topic: the universal human experience, something every person on the planet shares. Here are some expressions that capture this. Your turn. We all encounter moments of doubt, hope, and transformation. Every person carries a story that shaped who they are today. We're all trying to navigate life with the tools we have. No one goes through life without challenges. What connects us is not perfection, but our shared humanity. These expressions allow you to speak with empathy and understanding, true marks of fluent communication. Finally, let's close this 2-hour session with a message of encouragement, something meaningful, sincere, and supportive for your listeners. You've just spent 2 hours practicing advanced English with intention and focus. That alone is something to be proud of. Fluency is not built in a day. It's built through consistent effort, curiosity, and the courage to keep going, even when it feels hard. Every bit of progress counts, and every minute you invest brings you closer to the confident speaker you want to become. Recall this: your voice matters, your thoughts matter, and your English journey is just beginning. Keep practicing, keep improving, and keep believing in your ability to grow. I'm proud of the work you've done today, and I'm excited to see everything you will achieve. Thank you for spending time with me today here on English in Moments. If this practice helped you, please like the video and subscribe for more. Keep learning, keep growing, and I'll see you in the next lesson.